Hey everyone, welcome to the tutorial for drums on the song So Will I 100 Billion Times. We're taking this song at 128 beats per minute, and I'm going to break down all the nuanced parts to it. I did say this in the overview, but be cognizant that both in the Hillsong versions, the United versions, and the Worship Solutions version, there's typically two drummers playing. So we've broken kind of the Hillsong versions and the live versions down into one concise drum part that you can play on a drummer on your kit. So the first thing that we'll do is just talk about how the song comes in. It comes in just with cymbal swell. You're basically just going to keep time on your ride cymbal until the groove comes in. When the groove comes in, it's a 16th note roll on your snare, and you have to kind of imply a typical backbeat with it, like this. Now, the kick drum's only going to hit on the chord changes of those sections. So when you come in, just be mindful to know where the chord changes. Sometimes as a drummer, it's good if you have your bass player like in your line of sight. You both can lock eyes with each other and know where that chord's going to change, and you'll know where your kick's going to hit. From there, when you hit that second chorus of the song, you're going to bring in more of a 4 on the floor on the kick drum, like this. So with that, it just gives a nice low-end momentum throughout that chorus. And again, you're going to hear some toms in the recordings or some different like rim clicks from the Hillsong guys in the recordings. Your other drummer or percussion player can do that if you got like a tag team and you guys can both be playing worship at the same time. But if not, you can incorporate those tom hits and those rim clicks into your 16th note rolls. But I would say the most important thing is that you nail that 16th note. I wouldn't worry about the auxiliary percussion parts. I would stay focused on giving that 16th note roll a backbeat and good solid groove. That's the most important part of the drum element. Moving on, there's like a crash out. You crash out on that 16th note roll, and then you're going to bring another cymbal swell in and ride cymbal as well. And then from there, you go to a 2-stage build. It's pretty easy. Just half notes on your kick drum and quarter notes on your snare and your floor tom. That goes throughout all the lyrics of that moment, and then until the band starts the O section, like when the vocalist starts singing, oh, that's your cue to speed things up. Go to 4 on the floor on the kick drum and 8th notes on your snare and floor tom in unison. Right, and you're just going to take that up from a mellow dynamic all the way up behind the band and then cut it off for that final verse. Then in the last bit, what's going to happen is you're going to bring in a 16th note roll back to the 16th note roll on your snare with 4 on the floor on your kick, and that's going to build into a really long fill. And we don't get to do long fills very often, so it's super fun when you get to do it. The main thing is to know when to go from your snare roll to your toms, because when you transition from a 16th note roll on your snare drum and you start to go around the drums, you don't want to do that too early, or you're going to be hanging out on your rack tom for what seems like an eternity, and on your floor tom for what seems like an eternity, and you don't want to bring it back to your snare drum, or it's just going to feel like you just cut your fill short. So when you do that, it's like this. So I'm not on those drums too long, and when you go from snare to rack tom to floor tom, everybody's been listening to music long enough to know, all right, we're getting ready to bring something special in. And what that something special is the first real groove of the song, right? So that's kind of fun. You get to play a super cool groove. It's got a fun kick pattern that's like this. And that's it. That's the toughest part of the song, is just kind of like waiting for that moment and then keeping that A pattern of the kick, which is, that's the A pattern, and the B pattern is, drops that first couple hits, right? So you can kind of hear how that exchange works, and that opens up some nuance to the groove. And then from there, you crash it out and just watch your worship leader. They might try to bring that chorus to another on-ramp, if you will. They might want to extend that chorus. They may want to change it and make it their own arrangement. So just being familiar with the parts of the songs and knowing the lyrics and the lyrical cues will help you go where the worship leader wants to go. All right, guys, I'll see you in the play-along where we put all these parts together.